What is going on, fight fans? It's your host Sebastian and welcome back to the Boxing Tip. Now, I've been in the YouTube comment sections lately and I've been seeing a lot of this getting thrown around, so I want to go ahead and give you my take on the question: is Triple G a bum? Does he deserve the nickname Bumlovkin or whatever the fuck they're calling him? And I'll go ahead and give you my short answer now, and then I'll give you my detailed answer here in a bit. But my short answer is fuck no, I definitely don't think Golovkin is a bum. So let me go ahead and get into a little bit of breakdown as to why I don't think he's a bum. But first, a little bit of background of Triple G. He is a silver medalist in the Athens Olympics. He reportedly has an amateur record of 345 wins and 5 losses, but there are other reports that claim he has at least 8 losses. He is 4-0 with 4 knockouts against former titleists or current titleists. He is 17-0 with 17 knockouts in title fights, and he is 23 KOs deep in a knockout streak. Also, he is 36-0 with 33 knockouts, which as of now is the highest KO percentage in middleweight history. Now I'm gonna go ahead and talk about some things that I like about Triple G and things that he brings into the fight that I feel are qualities about him, kind of like I do in my breakdown and predictions video. And the first one we're gonna start with, like in most of my videos, is Golovkin's jab. Now, Gennady Golovkin probably has, if not the best, one of the best jabs in boxing. That thing is a fucking power punch. I don't care what you have to say about it. It hurts his opponents when he lands it, but that's not the biggest reason why I like Golovkin's jab. The biggest reason why I like Golovkin's jab is that he actually uses it to take away his opponent's jab. If you notice in a lot of his fights, he likes to do a kind of like a catch and shoot, simultaneously countering his opponent's jab, I guess. Basically, he blocks his opponent's jab while at the same time throwing his own jab. And that is a super effective tool, especially when you have a fighter in front of you that relies on his jab to set up offense. It stops him dead in his tracks. And that, to me, is one of the most versatile ways I've seen Golovkin use his jab. Matter of fact, one of the most versatile ways that I've seen anybody use a jab. The next thing is Triple G is arguably the hardest puncher in boxing today. Obviously his record shows it, but usually I'm not a big fan of talking about an opponent's power. It is an important topic, obviously, and especially when it comes to Triple G. Like, man, you could just see his opponents buckle when they feel it, whether it's on their gloves, on their arms, to the body, to the face. It doesn't really matter. The moment they feel Triple G's punch, it becomes a very intimidating fight for his opponent. That is a useful tool because you get your opponent scared enough, I mean, they're not going to fight to their optimum level. I mean, even more technically sound fighters like Willie Monroe Jr., you could tell, like, he tried to start outboxing Golovkin in the beginning of the fight. Well, he got hit with that left hook when Triple G cut the ring off on him. And what happened to him trying to outbox him? He stopped trying to. He figured, fuck, I might as well just go in there and go to war and try to knock this dude out before he eventually just knocks me out. Maybe that's not exactly what was going through his head, but like the great Mike Tyson always says, or has said, everybody's got a game plan until they get hit. Well, when you get hit by Triple G clean, well, that fucking game plan don't exist anymore. It's time for plan F, you know what I mean? But enough about the power. Let's go ahead and talk about Golovkin's ability to counterpunch very well. And not just his jab, but with his power shots to the body and to the head. You know, I hear him get a lot of criticism that he's a slow fighter, you know, he's just a come forward fighter. I personally don't see that. I don't see how he is a really slow fighter. He's just a one-dimensional fighter. Triple G slips punches and counters with the best of them, if you ask me. Or, you know, I've even seen him take a shot while throwing his own shot and knock the other guy out like he did Daniel Gill. I mean, you know, that's contributed to his ability to take a good punch, but, you know, that's how he usually gets a lot of these guys out of there. Just catch a punch from him, either head on, or if he's so slow, you know, they should have had all the chances in the world to avoid him. You know, he's he's a good skilled fighter. He's able to slip punches with the best of them, like I said, and counter with some really big shots, and all it takes is one from him, you know what I mean, and you could just call it a done deal from there. And that's because, whether you agree with it or not, Triple G does box very well. He is a very technically sound fighter. This man didn't make it to the Olympics because he didn't know how to box, and he showed us his boxing ability against David Lemieux. Now granted, I know David Lemieux isn't the most technical fighter either, but Triple G still recognized David Lemieux's punching power as a threat and decided to go in there and do something a little bit differently. You know, he showed us that he can use his feet, he can slip punches, he can counter punch, he can walk David Lemieux down and show us good defense. He also showed us that, you know, he isn't just a wild swinger. He was choosing his shots precisely depending on the situation. He did get a little crazy when he hit David Lemieux as he was going down. You know, I can't give him credit for that punch in particular, but the body shot he hit him with before he went down was just textbook. Golovkin is a very accurate fucking puncher. And like I said, he wouldn't be able to get away with such accurate punching if he was just some slow, come forward, one-dimensional fighter like people keep saying he is. No, you have to have boxing ability to be able to set up your own shots like that. Like Marco Antonio Rubio faked the left hand or the left hook and then came underneath Rubio with the right uppercut, which ultimately led to him getting knocked out. A basic fighter doesn't do things like that. So that's why I'd probably disagree the most with people who call him a bum. That, and because Triple G is probably one of the smartest pressure applying fighters that I've ever seen. His ability to cut off the ring is just ridiculous. Now, he didn't do so well against Kell Brook, I do understand that, but in every other fight, man, he cuts off the ring superbly. They have absolutely nowhere to go. Like Willie Monroe Jr. got cut off, and Golovkin just stood there in front of him and just waited for Monroe to do what he shouldn't have done, was punch, and he got hit with the left hook and got dropped. And the way that he applies pressure, it isn't like go in there and bum rush your opponent. It's go in there and make them feel like the walls are closing in on them, make them make mistakes, and when they finally do, capitalize on it. But when they do the right thing while you're putting that pressure on him, he's always ready to be on the defense. Or if he doesn't respect his opponent's power, he just probably let him hit him just to land his own shots. And don't say that Dominic Wade landing some of those punches weren't Golovkin's intentions. You've seen him drop his hands and take those punches square on the face. He did it with Willie Monroe Jr. too. I mean, the dude's just an animal. And that's basically what it boils down to, is that Golovkin is a monster. And if you ask me, there is nobody in the middleweight division fucking with him. Maybe if he jumps up in weight, you know, you got some good fighters at super middleweight that can probably give him a really good challenge, like James DeGale, probably be the biggest example. Gilberto Ramirez, Andre Durrell. You know, there's some good fighters at 168, so if he does decide to move up, he has some competition up there. The way Dmitry Pirog sparked out Danny Jacobs, who was probably not even as good a boxer as Golovkin is, I just am so curious to see how Jacobs is gonna beat Golovkin. I just don't see it. He's a good fighter. He has some good wins, I'll admit. And I don't think there's anything wrong with Danny Jacobs, but I just don't see what he can possibly do to disrupt Golovkin from hunting his ass down. Now, another one of the biggest complaints I see from people is Golovkin's resume. Personally, I don't feel that's a huge factor. I mean, it is a factor, but who in the middleweight division is there left to fight that he hasn't already beat? I mean, you got Jacobs, who he's in negotiations with now, and I hear they're having a fucking hell of a time with that. There's Peter Quillen. Jacobs just lit his ass up. And then there's like Andy Lee, and then maybe Sergey Devryanchenko whenever he finally gets up in the ranks. Other than that, I'm not really seeing any top 160-pound fighters that he has left to beat other than maybe those four. You know, they didn't just fucking hand him them belts. I mean, Canelo did, but there's a reason why Canelo didn't want to fight him right away. They say it's money or whatever, they're letting the fight build. Me personally, I just don't feel like he's very confident in going into a fight with Triple G. It's dangerous. Oh, and there's Billy Joe Saunders, who has the one belt that he doesn't have, but we seen what happened to Billy Joe Saunders on December 3rd. Artur Akavov, and I'm standing by this shit, they gave Billy Joe Saunders that hometown decision. Artur Akavov outbox his ass, in my opinion. And if he's looking like that, I don't think he fares very well against Triple G either. And I'm probably gonna get some shit from this video, probably a lot of dick riding comments, or you're hyping this dude up, or you know, whatever they come with. I don't know. But let me just explain to you guys something. I love boxing, and I love all fighters that fight in boxing. I might not always be happy with their performances or things that they do outside of the ring or whatever, but I do appreciate good boxers. And I don't care, I know a lot of this race baiting bullshit, whatever, you know, these YouTube channels do, or whatever the case may be, I don't care about none of that. You know, that means absolutely nothing to me when it comes to boxing, because boxing is a sport first. If a good fighter fights another good fighter from a different country, or they're from this country and I'm from this country, it makes no difference to me. I'm gonna pick the fighter that I feel is the better fighter. It's like basketball or any other sport. Just because, you know, you're from Chicago but the Cleveland Cavaliers have the best team in the league, just because you say that they're shit doesn't mean that they're shit. That means absolutely nothing. And that's pretty much how I feel about boxing. But maybe it might make the sport more interesting for some casual fans or something, or just for your average Joe. I'll never understand that logic personally, but it is what it is. It's here, so I deal with it, but that will never influence my picks for a fight ever. And it sure as hell ain't gonna make me spew out some shit about a good fighter and call them a bum when they're clearly a good boxer. I'll never do that. But that's enough of this rant. I just want to go ahead and thank you guys in advance for watching this video. Once again, it's your host Sebastian with the Boxing Tip. Please comment your thoughts. Let me know what you think of this situation, how you feel about Triple G. I'd really like to know. We could talk about it a little bit. Also, subscribe to my channels if you like more videos like this. I'm going to be trying to do an upload at least every day. If not, maybe a day in between uploads. Also, follow me on Twitter at TheBoxingTip. I'll go ahead and talk to you guys on the next one. I'm excited for December 10th. Peace out.